So today on Alabama Unfiltered, we have, well, who do we have?
We have a family that's joining us from Cyprus.
Where is that?
It's far away.
Far, far away.
It is very far away. But they're over there receiving treatment for long COVID.
Which is actually a thing. And we have Landen Williams on and his mom, Jill. They're going to talk about his story, kind of the year and a half of misery he went through and what they're doing in Cyprus now, getting treatment. And there's hope for you. And I think he does a really good job of talking to us, telling us how you too can get help, because their story's kind of...
It's inspiring.
It's inspiring.
It's inspiring. So y'all gather around. Anybody who's had COVID, maybe you've had the vaccine and you're thinking you're alone. You're not. Stay tuned. You do not want to miss this show.
We're literally debating that it's bad that people get to say what they think.
Can you imagine? I'm reading Psalm 144 and it says, He trains my hands for war.
We are on the brink of total destruction of America as we know it.
Let your rebel flag fly.
Welcome into this week's edition of Alabama Unfiltered, your favorite podcast that is about what is going on here in the state of Alabama. And we appreciate you watching and listening to the program. Don't forget you can find us at all the usual places for your podcast. And don't forget that we're powered by 1819 News. So check out 1819news.com, sign up for their newsletter and their daily detail, where you can find out what is going on in Alabama each and every day. But I'm one of your hosts, and Amy Beth Shaver is with me. Allison Sinclair is here as well. Ladies, how are y'all?
Good.
Just
did you
plain
say your
good.
Name?
I did at the very, very start.
You did. Okay.
Yes.
I just always want you to get credit.
Right.
Because it's the Scott Beeson show.
With the two ladies.
Apparently.
Those two girls that are on there with Scott Beeson. I like that. It sounds good.
I mean, yeah.
Shoot.
Uh-huh.
Can you tell he has his own radio show?
Oh, my goodness. Don't be giving me a hard time. It is on every day from Monday through Friday. Check it out at scottbeesonradio.com.
Wait, what station?
Scottbeesonradio.com is anywhere in the world. And then if you go there, it will tell you the stations locally where you live.
I listened to you the other day.
Did you?
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
For the first time ever? I would have you on. Amy Beth listens more than you do, so that's why she's been on the show before.
You're actually really good.
Really? And you're surprised?
A little bit.
You actually...
Just kidding.
No, you really are
Thank
good.
You. Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
You're very good.
You are very sweet
entertaining
today. Thank you.
It's weird. It's just an off day.
Yeah, what's wrong with us?
I don't know. I was going to make fun of your Mickey Mouse ears,
You know what?
but since
I
you've
have
been so
Mickey Mouse
nice, I will
ears
not do it.
And very little sleep. And I realize this has given me a mullet, apparently.
So you're not self-conscious at all.
And like an 80s
Some
vibe.
white
You know
snake.
what? Today, don't care.
Some 80s.
Sorry, messy hair. I don't care.
You are working
there
it,
you go.
though.
Yeah.
I think you
yeah.
go with it.
Well, at least we know it doesn't bother you.
Nothing bothers me. I'm 50. Nothing
at
bothers
all.
me anymore.
Are you 50 now? You had a
50.
recent birthday.
In
Did we
August,
miss? Oh, okay. So there was an older birthday.
Yeah.
So you're like beyond 50.
I'm beyond.
Shoot.
She's also sleep deprived, so...
Well, so
You don't know what's coming
You had to go
out.
to basketball. How did Will do?
The team did well.
Because
We
he
have
played,
some
and
kinks.
people may not know, but your son is an awesome basketball player, plays for the University of North Carolina, the University of North Carolina.
Yes.
Basketball Central.
Number 21, Will Shaver.
Yes. Short little guy.
He's real short.
We had
How
Young
tall
Life
is he?
6'11".
Is that like stretching it like all the other athletes
No,
do?
he's literally 6'10" and a half. And
Okay.
in his shoes, he's
Court height,
No.
he's 6'11" and a half.
He's really tall. Yeah, I mean, and he even cut his hair. So you
That
know
makes
how
him
that
shorter?
goes.
You're
Well,
supposed
you know
to go
how it
all the
does.
way down
So
to the
like
skull.
Armando has like these beautiful hair thing going
Right.
on.
So
and
he looks
you
taller.
know that they stretch everybody's height.
Right.
But we know because we were there the last time he was measured. And I'm like,
So
okay.
you did the real height.
His actual height. And he's
Okay.
actually taller than my husband. But it was a blast to go to the first game, be with all the families, and the boys room together. And so the freshmen 4 are together. So it was an absolute joy
That
to
is
be there
awesome.
and watch him run through the tunnel for the first time.
Yeah, that is cool. That is
So-
really cool. So
But,
he was
like,
there
as
early.
a teammate. He was there early, but this time,
He's fully geared
ready to
up,
go.
ready to go.
ready to go.
That's fantastic.
So yeah,
That is good.
I
it was
have
good.
to tell you, I meant to text you last night, but last night we have Young Life, like Oak Mountain High School Young Life at our house every Monday night.
What is Young Life? Is that like a churchy thing?
Do you not know about how awesome Young Life
Okay.
is?
No,
We'll
is
have
it,
to
did it
have this.
replace
Allison.
Fellowship of Christian Athletes?
No,
Is
there's
it
still FCA,
replace your
but then
local
there's
churches
Young Life.
because they're all leftist?
And I bet Landon and his mom, our guest today,
which
know about
actually
Young
we
Life.
haven't even
Okay.
introduced them. But
Well, we're
yeah,
gonna get
Landon-
But
we're
you
gonna
had
get
Young
there, but I
Life
gotta
at your
know.
house
Okay,
last
so
night?
we had Young Life at our house last night. We have it there every Monday night, and so much so that we forget about it. But the dogs started barking, And I opened the door, and I forgot all the boys were out there playing basketball on the little court.
Right. So they're
And I
sweaty
opened
and
the door
nasty
to
by
get the
now.
dog because he thinks he's Air Bud. And anyway, all I hear is like this whole conversation about Will Shaver. I guess they had watched some of the game, and it was really sweet. Like these kids, and I mean they're still in high school too, but like really pretty amazing, and really look up to him. And they were giving stats and talking about blah 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 blah. Like that's pretty cool.
That is
kind.
cool.
That's really humbling.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it makes you want to cry because you're sitting there with new friends that you love, like you've known them your whole life.
Right.
And you're watching them do their thing. And you know that, yes, they're freshmen, but the Lord saw fit to allow them to go there. And they're good men as their coaches. And it's very humbling. Sorry, I've only had 4 hours of sleep, so.
Okay,
No,
we
I'm
don't need
But
you
it's
to
very
cry.
humbling,
happy
and I'm
that-
very grateful
that he's at a
he
good place.
has this opportunity. So,
With good leadership.
and that's very sweet. And so I
is
tell
awesome.
them about our Oak Mountain family and how great people are and how encouraging they are.
Good.
So
Y'all
anyway,
both Oak Mountaineers?
We
We're-
are.
Okay.
well,
very good.
West Virginia are the Mountaineers.
I
We're
know,
the
but
Eagles.
I'm just doing with anything with
Fly like the
mountain
eagles.
is the ear. I've been talking about
Yes.
just the citizens
Right.
are Oak Mountaineers.
Let's not start that though. I
No,
don't know.
I like the way
I
that
think we're
sounds.
Eagles.
Especially if
Oh,
it's
yeah, we're Eagles.
Soar on wings
Y'all
of
are
eagles.
eagles?
Like we'll grow and not grow weary.
What is
we'll
Young
walk and
Life?
not grow weary.
We'll talk about Young Life later, but
Yeah.
I'm pretty
Right
is
sure.
now-
it devotional, Sunday school at people's houses, Bible study.
Similar
Bible
to
study.
FCA, but for kids who are not in sports. It's been around for a very long
It's the
time.
NARP version.
It
It's
is
NARP
fantastic. My
Christian
husband
Athletes,
even went when he was
Fellowship
in high
of
school. It's been
NARPs.
around a very long time.
Okay.
It's a wonderful,
Good.
wonderful discipleship
High school ministry.
high school ministry.
I like
It's
it.
amazing. And everybody knows the Sinclairs because they host it at their house. So,
On Monday nights.
yeah.
Then you can play basketball
Just
with the
show up.
dog
Yeah.
ahead of time.
Can
Sounds
parents
great.
come? Can I just come?
I sometimes will go back to the barn and just hang out because it reminds me of being.
It makes you
gone.
feel
gonna
young
come.
Yeah,
again.
it does.
I'm gonna
And
How
it's
come you
so
didn't
much
just
fun.
throw out how old you are when she threw out how old she was?
Because she's much younger than me.
much
Yeah.
younger.
We were not in high school at the same time. And I don't know.
Why are you looking at me?
Just calculating.
She's young and
I'm
fresh.
44.
Okay. That's fair.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay.
Congrats.
All right,
Let's
well, now
move
that we've
on.
gotten this all
Anyway.
out.
So what is on
Friends,
the show
thank you.
today?
Okay, this is awesome. Allison.
That was so not planned, by the way. I'm so sorry. So today, I'm like so thankful that y'all are here. We have Jill Williams and her son Landen Williams, and Landen has been struggling with what they had no idea was for probably a year and a half, 2 years now. Turned out to be long COVID, which they're just now starting to discover and actually call it a thing.
Mm-hmm.
My whole family had COVID in August of 2020. It was the most miserable experience. Luckily, none of us suffer from like acute long COVID, but for so many people, it is so frustrating. And Landen's going to tell us his story. He's actually in Cyprus receiving an experimental treatment to try
Like the other country, another country.
Oh yeah,
Cyprus.
and like not Lacedonia. I think that's anyway.
Macedonia?
Something that starts with an L, and we'll find out.
Oh.
But actually, he and his mom, and maybe a dad. I think I maybe saw a dad in there. But anyway, they're going to be joining us. And so thank you all so much for being here. The beginning of this is terrifying. And Landen, I don't know. I would love for you to talk about it. I mean, you basically had to go, you were at a church camp, started having heart palpitations, couldn't breathe. You're like, what in the world? You're a healthy, how old were you then? 17?
Yeah, so I actually was 18.
Okay, 18.
Okay.
Healthy 18-year-old. You had a mild case of COVID, and then what happened?
Yeah, so like you said, I had a very mild case of COVID. Literally, I had a snuffle and just a cough, and that was just about it. I was very active in the gym, so when I had COVID, I was like, oh man, I can't go to the gym for 9 days. Little did I know I wouldn't be able to do it for 17 months. But anyway, so yeah, I just had a really light case. I got over it. It was nothing. I actually told my mom that the flu was worse than COVID when I had it. And then on day 11, I got back in the gym, started doing what I love, and I was back to my regular schedule. And then 2 months in, June 21st, 2021, I went to a camp down in Pensacola, Florida, called Teen Extreme. And we were there on the first day. And so basically they have, it's a camp I've gone to every year. And so they have like 2,000 campers, and they do games and stuff. So there's 4 different teams, and they're color coordinated. So you got blue and orange and green and whatnot. So at nighttime, they like to do different races in the gymnasium, so you can get points for your team and stuff. So we were doing a relay race, and I was fine, doing great, being my active self. And then 2 hours later, that night when we were just giving testimonies at the campfire, I looked at my coach. We call him Coach Bookout. He's our basketball coach, and basically I said, "Brother Bookout, like I'm about to pass out." And so I could just feel my heart palpitating, and it was 160 at resting, and my blood pressure had shot up to 170 over 120. So, and that was at resting, and I was just sitting, chilling, just having a good time talking to my friends. So that's when they called the paramedics. The paramedics checked me out. They said that there were no big signs that something was wrong, but they did say that my numbers were elevated. So they actually said we can call your mom and see if she wants you to go to the hospital. And Coach Bookout said, well, actually he's 18. And so she looked at me and she said, well, okay, it's your decision. What do you want to do? Well, I didn't want to, make a decision. Like, I was like, well, surely I don't need to go to the hospital. I'm healthy. I'm in the gym all the time. So maybe it was just something I had eaten. So I was trying to go over in my mind everything that I've done previously. But I just sat there for 10 minutes, and I looked at Brother Bookout, Coach Bookout, and I said, I got to go to the emergency room. So
how did you know? Like,
we get a call.
Was different? You just knew nothing. Your heart rate still elevated. Just something in you says this isn't normal. And thank goodness you went.
Well, yeah. So not only was my heart rate elevated and my blood pressure elevated, but my heart was pounding so hard. It wasn't only racing, it was pounding so hard. I was having shortness of breath. Like, I was like trying to breathe, and it was really difficult for me to catch a breath. Like, I felt like I was like, starving for oxygen. So it was really weird. But then, so then I had like this tightness feeling around my neck. The room started spinning. I felt like I was going to pass out. And so that's when I knew. I said, okay, I got to go to the emergency room. Because I just, your mind jumps to conclusions. So I just thought, because of the pain in my neck, I said, maybe I have like a clot in my neck or something. Because I had never felt, it was literally like a grown man, strangling me by the neck. So it was really something else. So.
Well, then we get a call at 1:30 in the morning. And of course, when your phone rings at 1:30 in the morning, and it was our dear friends, the Bookouts, which were his youth pastor, and saying that Landen was headed to the ER, which was shocking because he had no underlying conditions. He was really my healthiest child. He was never sick. And so we get in the car and head to Pensacola and pick him up. And then this starts over a year long battle of trying to find out what was wrong with Landen. And we went from doctor to doctor to doctor, and all the tests were normal. They could find nothing wrong with him.
And I do want to note, when I did go to the emergency room in Pensacola, it was a nice doctor, but he basically looked at me and said that it's a severe panic attack, and that I was just, had some anxious stuff going on in my life. And I told him, I said, sir, I promise you I'm the happiest, chillest guy, like,
I'm not stressed.
Yeah. And I told him, I said, if this is a panic attack, then this is like, I didn't know this is what a panic attack was, because it was bad. And so he gave me a Xanax. It did absolutely nothing, didn't even touch any symptom.
Right.
And I went back to the dorm, tried to get some sleep. My heart was pounding all throughout the night. And I texted Mom. I said, hey, you got to come down here and get me. Something's not right. So
we took him to a cardiologist because he was having a very high heart rate and fluctuation in blood pressure. We had the paramedics at our home many times. He would wake up from a dead sleep and his heart rate would be 160. Then his blood pressure would drop. We know now he was having POTS-like symptoms, which is related with long COVID. At the time, we had no idea he had long COVID. But no, it was really not a thing yet. And so we took him to a cardiologist. And do you want to tell him about the cardiologist?
So let me ask one question real quick.
We went to the cardiologist.
So this was just continuing on and on and on after it started at the camp, and this is just happening every day?
Yeah. So some days were better than others, but after I got back from the camp, I would wake up in the middle of the night with my heart rate just flying. Like I would be gasping for air in the middle of the night, elevated blood pressure. I mean, we had to call the paramedics multiple times because of this. And so
chronic fatigue, exercise malaise,
PIM, which is post-exertional malaise, and a whole bunch of other symptoms. So we ended up going to my primary. Told my primary what was going on, and so anyway, we he referred us to a cardiologist. Won't mention names, of course, but he was a woke cardiologist, I guess you could say, and basically
that's fun.
He did a whole bunch of tests, for sure. So he did a whole bunch of tests on me, and he at first he thought I needed an ablation. He said maybe something's wrong with your heart, just on the cellular level or something. So he said if it's an ablation, we'll fix it. I wore a heart monitor for 2 weeks, and during those 2 weeks, it was awful because I was still working at the Y, going to school and stuff. Or no, that was in the summer. No, I was not going to school. Sorry, I was just working at the Y and stuff, and so basically, it was just awful. So
all the tests came back normal. They did an echo of his heart. We still couldn't figure out what was wrong. We go back to him to see the results. We ask him. We're just trying to, I guess he thought we weren't accepting the diagnosis that they did say he had tachycardia. They put him on atenolol. But, we knew it was something more than that. And so we just were asking questions, and he just basically gaslit us and said that it was just, Landen was just being nervous about this, and he needed to just relax and not worry about it. And he really insulted us. I don't want to go into all that he said, but we went to the parking lot and just, because he was the professional, we were looking for help.
Right.
And he had, he gaslit us. I mean, he nothing was wrong. You had a little fast heart rate, you're going to be fine. We knew that wasn't it. There was something wrong, and Landen knew it because he was so healthy. He knew you don't all of a sudden go from a totally healthy person to having all of these issues.
And the thing is, a lot of doctors, not all, but some, the majority, they like to mask the problem. And so they give you medication, Big Pharma, I'm sure, is involved and whatnot. But anyway, I'm just saying they like to mask the problem. Okay, ask yourself this question. I never had tachycardia before. Why am I having tachycardia? Mm-hmm. So, it was crazy. But not only the tachycardia, I got on the heart medicine. At the time, I was really excited because I was like, well, maybe this is my problem. Maybe it's just tachycardia. So I got on the medication, the atenolol, and it did help my heart rate, but it didn't help any of the other symptoms. And so.
Then David Shelley Nielsen, a dear friend of ours, introduced us to a Christian doctor.
Well, let's hold right there, because I know our listeners want to hear about this next step and how we got to the doctor who was able to send y'all in the right direction. We got to take a quick break and listen to have a message from one of our sponsors, but we'll be right back.
What's up, guys? Brian Dawson, CEO of 1819 News here. I want to take a minute to tell you about my good friends over at Centurion Labs. Cold weather is here, and you know what that means. Colds, the flu, and coronaviruses are running rampant. Your immune system needs protection, and that's why I love what my friends over at Centurion Labs are doing. They're always looking for safe, effective, affordable ways to keep you healthy and at your best. Got a cough, sore throat, or a runny nose? You need to check out their Ninja Cough product. You heard me, Ninja Cough. It contains the strongest non-narcotic cough suppressant on the market with no sugar, alcohol, or dyes. So it's safe for everyone, even your kids. Looking to strengthen your immune health, prevent sickness, or fight off the flu, and of course, coronaviruses? Defender Immunity Boost is for you. It is an all-in-one immunity booster that combines vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, copper, and quercetin in just one pill to save you money and help defend your health. Having trouble sleeping? Defender PM is a nighttime immunity booster that will help you get rest and boost your immune health. Now is the time to defend your health, save money, and support a company that shares your Christian values and loves this country. Centurion has dedicated the last 15 years to research and develop safe, effective, and affordable products made in the USA that you can trust. For a limited time, listeners of this podcast can get 20% off their first bottle order when you visit centurionlabs.com/1819news and use the promo code 1819. That's centurionlabs.com/1819news with the promo code 1819. Check them out, guys.
Welcome back into the program. We're talking to the Williams and their experience with long COVID. They're on the talking to us from Cyprus.
I know, right?
It's amazing.
Like I
really,
want to
really
know
is.
how they got to Cyprus.
I want to know just how they found a doctor who didn't
Gaslight them.
didn't talk down to them.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And I think it's worth pointing out before we continue, because we've talked about, you just had COVID. I think you said in the article that you did not have the vaccine, but even if you haven't had COVID, if you have had the COVID-19 vaccine, basically that vaccine replicates and mimics the virus. And so all of these long COVID issues with the spike protein can show up even if you've never had COVID. So I think that's really important to talk about with people. Like, don't say I've never had COVID, so this can't be an issue for me.
Right.
Like, listen to Landen's story, pay attention, and just know, share with your friends and family. This is such a good story, and I'm hopeful. We just lost them, but that's okay. But I'm hopeful that this can really spur on a movement to people getting help.
Yeah.
Because this poor kid, and we all have kids his age, it's like, oh my goodness, you're at the height of life, like tired and need a nap every day. Okay,
Right.
I'm old. That's me.
Right.
That shouldn't be, this teenage boy that is, I guess, was supposed to start college. And so I'm hoping that
Who's in
this brings
shape
some
and
help.
going to the gym, talking about doing
Yeah.
the things. And I don't know, was he a basketball player, football player?
Sounds like super healthy.
super healthy.
And he's so well spoken.
And then they say, the doctors are like, well, you just, anxiety.
It's in your
or-
head.
Yeah. We don't, the tests are all negative, so you're fine. And your heart's like, boo, 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 boo,
When
boo,
you
boo.
really wonder
I'm not fine.
how often and how long they can pretend that this isn't related to COVID.
Right. That's not a real thing.
Like, how long is this going to go on?
Right. Right.
So,
And I'm fascinated, and I guess we're at the stage where we have no idea why one person gets a long COVID and then others don't. It's just, COVID's a weird thing.
it's
It's
very
very
Because, I mean,
weird.
it
Did you
is-
have COVID?
Yeah, I think I had it for 4 or 5 days. I never had a positive test.
You've had it like 28
Several times.
times.
Really?
Yeah.
It's weird.
I had the loss of taste and smell.
Chris gets
thing.
it less than me, and you think he'd have it more, but I'm the
Yeah.
one.
Really?
I just
I've only
think
had it
my
once. That I
immunity's
think I've
not
had
good,
it. I've only
but
had it
it's
once.
fine.
But I will give it this. I mean, you're tired for a long time.
Yes.
Oh,
I
I'm
mean,
still not the
so
same.
I can't.
I might have low.
Well, you
long
may be
COVID.
old. I mean, you're 44 now, so it could be old age, not long COVID. Yes,
Excuse me, Mom.
we'll help you to your car.
Yeah.
Afterwards. I think the Williams are back. We lost y'all for a few seconds, but we were going to get to the part where you've been through a number of doctors. Maybe one of them was woke and they're not listening to you, and it's kind of frustrating, I'm sure, because you're saying we're not idiots. We know what's going on. Something is weird, and you find a new doctor. So let's do the next steps.
Well, and I want, because I always ask questions and kind of make things difficult. So I'm going to interject, but on a personal level, like as I was reading your article and reading up on your story, like what is your family like? You have brothers and sisters, correct? And as a mom, how are you handling this? And how frustrated? I mean, there's nothing more that a mom would like to do than get in there and fight for their child. Here you are going to the people that are supposed to be helping you, and you're getting nowhere. And we lost them again. So
We can talk about that, though.
they're in Cyprus. But I wonder, how are these doctors denying that this is happening because they really think, okay, well, teenagers, they're angsty, whatever, or is it genuinely like they're like, okay, wait, we pushed this vaccine, we didn't treat COVID when we had these options that were available, and now are they looking for a liability, like wanting this amnesty that they're all talking about?
I kind of think, and I don't know, so your husband's a doctor, so
Yeah.
I feel like, and I'm insulting to him, I understand that, but doctors are very similar to mechanics. but instead of cars, it's people. And they have a checklist. It says, okay, the check engine light's on. It's a code 368H, and that should be this. But if it's not that, it's this. If it's not that, it's this. It's not that. And you get to the bottom of the list, and they're like, I'm out of my list.
Yeah.
I have no idea. And I think that's really kind of what's happened. There was no such thing as COVID to start with. Right. And then there definitely wasn't a long COVID.
Right.
So they go with what is kind of generally happening.
I think a couple of things. One, you are right. There are differential diagnoses that they make. And like with our mechanic, where would we be without them?
Mm-hmm. Oh,
right?
Yeah, we got to have them.
We have to have them. And you're right. Doctors they're the car surgeons. They're the people surgeons. Right. That's the way I like to look at it. But I do believe that so many of them pushed the vaccine, shamed the rest of us that are like, I'm going to just hold off for a second.
Right.
And so I think there's a lot of saving face going on. There's also we trust the CDC because they generally have given decent information, but now we've switched over into threatening them if they don't give the mob mentality exact same information. And so you've got kind of some incongruent things going on with the doctors who will speak out versus the ones who won't, and saving face. So I think it's a multi-layered,
a lot of pushing and pulling,
very big issue.
Right. And then so, people like the Williams kind of fall in between the cracks.
And so who's going to say, oh, this is long COVID, and oh my gosh, we've really got to help you. But that means abandoning the things that they said they believed in while they were pushing the vaccine, or admitting that they were wrong, or seeing it from a completely different point of view. And so,
or like Allison said, maybe if I had done, or we had done some of these early preventive measures, we wouldn't have people with long COVID. And then it just kind of comes back to whatever I do, it might make me look bad.
Yes.
So let's just pretend this doesn't.
I think that brings us to where the Williams are. I feel like with COVID, I don't think healthcare and medicine has always been that way. I feel like it's always been way more open to hypothesizing and, just generally having a conversation, but it's gotten to this checklist. And especially with COVID, you do A, B, C, D, you've got to find a doctor that will think outside of that box. And many weren't willing to, but y'all actually found one that was, and that's how you got to Cyprus. So you leave the cardiologist, they're like, dude, you just need to go take a nap and chill out. And you're like, no, I'm dying. And I'm sure that's what you felt like. How did you find Dr. Vaughn and get to where you are?
Okay, so before we get to Dr. Vaughn, I just wanted to say, about Dr. Payson Daugherty, and he has been a phenomenal doctor. He's a dear friend of David and Shelley. He said he heard about my story because he's a family friend, and he said, hey, you need to go see Payson. So he went and saw Payson, and he was a phenomenal to me. That was the first doctor that ever listened to me. And so he had heard a little bit of long COVID, and then he diagnosed me with long COVID. And then the research began.
His wife, Nell, and I and Landen would share articles and information in every waking minute that we had, and we research medical records, researching, articles. And I'm not a doctor, so I would have to just get everything that it was saying. But long story short, Landen found Reddit.
Yeah, so there's a forum called Reddit, Reddit. It's also an app on the App Store and Google Play. But anyway, so I got on Reddit, and there's a forum of COVID long haulers, and there's like 45,000 people on there. So one day I was just really discouraged, and I said, you know what, I'm going to try to find some other people who are going through what I'm going through. So I got on Reddit. And it was by the grace of God, because there's so many posts on there. The first one that popped up was help apheresis. And it talked about Dr. Beata Yeager over in Mulheim, Germany, and how she's doing this treatment to basically filter the plasma and get these micro clots removed from the body. So that's when I ran to my mom. I said, Mom, you got to hear this, because they actually had Marcus clots on there. And he actually received the treatment and got 100% better, almost. So it was very encouraging. So I ran to my mom and showed her the post.
So Yes, and so then we took it to Dr. Daughtry, and he said, this makes perfect sense. He even tried to call Germany, but with the language barrier, we weren't able to get through to them. So I know you were asking about Dr. Vaughn. We didn't mean to get off of that subject, but Tyler Thrasher recommended Dr. Vaughn to us because what happened was we got on the sign-up sheet for help apheresis because they said it's going to be 6 months to a year.
So October of 2021, like almost a year.
Right. Let's see. Well, that was summer. Did he start in summer of 20?
Yeah.
So it took.
Right.
My goodness gracious.
Yeah. But that's how I felt during COVID. I don't know, because we were one of the first ones that had it.
Right.
It's like you had to do all your research. You were the doctor.
Yeah.
And
Right.
I know that that's how they felt. And so you find this, I think y'all are back, kind of describe to us when you're reading, what is the procedure that you found? You touched on a little bit, but basically they hook you up to a machine and they filter all your blood and basically detox everything.
So y'all know some of
Procedure.
the story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they go to Germany, right? First?
No, it's just a German doctor,
Okay.
I think, that had started to
Filter out these
kind of work on this
microclots.
hypothesis, which is the way the scientific method. And
Right.
Imagine that.
yeah, it's crazy.
Like since the
And
beginning.
they're doing it in Germany because in America,
we don't do such things.
We just let people
Right.
die. I mean, it's sad. Like,
I mean,
think
I know you say that a little tongue in cheek, but not really.
No. I really think, like, I mean, what doctor in their right mind, Landon at 18 years old walks into the emergency room, has this heart rate, this blood pressure, and you really, and not just for a spike in a moment of time, like you're really going to let him leave and go home? I mean, without any diagnosis, any other oversight,
Yeah,
like to me,
it's
yes,
chilling.
I really
Seems
don't
like
even
that
say
is.
it tongue in cheek.
It seems strange. And then the fact that they're in Cyprus now and having
Yeah.
to talk to doctors in Germany and other places when
We're supposed to be on the forefront of everything.
right, the cutting
That's
edge.
right.
Yeah.
That's right.
But
Well,
we were still here not letting anybody have hydroxychloroquine or
No.
what's the other
Well,
one? Not erythromycin, but
ivermectin, and we were really challenging people when they go to the pharmacy
Mhm.
to pick up their prescriptions. Like, why are you getting this?
Right.
Why do you need
That's what
this?
we were
I mean,
doing
Do you
instead
remember
of
that?
Yeah.
instead of figuring out how to filter out the blood and
Right.
those kinds of things.
Right. Which,
Okay.
by the way, we get to have Dr. Vaughn on very soon.
Oh, that'll be
to talk
great.
even more about where we are and what things are going on. But you're right, Allison. That's the thing that he said so often, right at the beginning of all the doctors coming out and going, okay, here is the situation, is that loss of the scientific method and using evidence and data to drive a decision and to help patients and to deal with the patients in front of them versus the public
Right.
that we're being led to believe. Like, I even heard an ad this weekend that we're supposed to look out for our neighbors
Still?
by getting the. Yeah, I almost came unglued. And I would like to let y'all know that there are plenty of people still wearing double mask and gloves.
Hey, I'm okay
That
with
was cause
it,
where
though.
you went.
It's true, but it was still hard, even in
Right.
the Atlanta airport, but
Right.
also in the Charlotte airport. I'm like,
But if
Gotta
they
stop.
want
Don't
to,
you wanna
I don't
just stop
care
to
as
all
long
of them?
as nobody's telling them
But the
to.
problem that bothers me is that they're doing it because they believe something.
that's right. That's what bothers me. Is I know I can't change it. They're free to do whatever they
Right.
want. Freedom
But
of
they may have
expression.
never have heard that it doesn't.
But
do
it hurts my
anything.
feelings that they still think after all this time that is what was going to help them
Right.
when we have so much evidence to the contrary. And then you get back to the whole evidentiary based conclusion. It didn't do anything. And so why are you still doing it?
Right. Right.
So, but this is a fascinating story because the more we learn about COVID and the clots, the more that you think this is a remarkable story.
right.
Well, I want to know. So they go for this procedure.
There's a microphone there.
They go for this procedure and get started down the road of, I guess, getting a little better. And now is the German doctor in Cyprus? And what exactly are they doing? Other things other than filtering the blood? Is there a detox procedure? Is there?
He goes on Reddit and discovers this blood filtering, like how to detox, because the spike protein
Right.
is the issue.
Okay.
The spike protein that's on the COVID virus and the spike protein that's in the vaccine.
Right. And the vaccine makes people's bodies create the spike protein.
Right.
Correct.
And that's what
maybe even more than
vaccines do.
COVID does.
Right.
And because
Wow.
the
Okay.
vaccine doesn't have an endpoint in theory. Like if you have the virus and you get COVID, you get the virus and then it moves on after a week or so. But the vaccine replicates potentially indefinitely.
It tells your body, hey, just keep making this
Right.
stuff. And there's not an off switch
Right.
that we know of.
Right.
So are y'all saying that people need to pay attention to the Williams the story of long COVID,
Right.
because there are people who probably now have long COVID
from the vaccine. Right.
Yes.
and their body's trying to deal with what the vaccine did.
That's
okay.
right.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Hey, don't forget, y'all, that are watching the program, that they are in Cyprus. So we're making it all work. We've got it all back up to speed now, and we appreciate y'all being in and being patient with us, making sure that this connection is there. So where were we? What question were we asking?
We were in Germany.
We're headed to Germany.
We're in Germany.
No, we found Germany on Reddit.
So we're not headed to Germany yet.
No, actually, I don't think y'all ever went to Germany. You just went to Cyprus, which if I put out a globe, could y'all say where Cyprus was?
Yeah, it's right there.
Okay. Anyway. All right. So Landon, you're out. Tell us again, you found on Reddit and you go to Payson, Dr. Daughtry.
He put me on some medicines because I had a lot of inflammatory issues. He put me on an anti-inflammatory, a statin, and a list of...
Yes, H1 and H2. He was basically following the protocol for Germany. Beata Yeager, she had a protocol for those that were with long haul that would be coming for treatment. So his medicine cabinet looked like that of a senior citizen. It was just...
Wow.
It was awful. But he did that for about 4 months. And this was his senior year in high school.
Mm.
So
yeah, and this was after the fact that I had found about health apheresis on Reddit and showed it to my mom, and she put me, on the list. That was October of 2021. So she figured that, the waiting list was 9 to 10 months. So she put me on it just for the heck of it. And she thought, well, surely he'll be better by then.
So I was thinking, of course he would be better by then. We'll just put him on the list just so we can, just in case. And it was very frightening to think about going overseas for treatment for 6 weeks for me. And so I began to pray about it and ask the Lord where he had us go. And he led us to Isaiah 43. And every question that I had, God answered that in Isaiah 43. And it's long and complicated. But basically I said, Lord, I'm afraid. I'm afraid of a lot of things. And the verse, of 2 of that verse said, fear not, I will be with thee when thou passest over the waters. And then I was like, and I would read a verse and then I would ask, it was during my devotion time. So I would read a verse and then I would look up and I would think and I would ask the Lord a question and then I would go back to read and then he would answer he would give me the answer in that next verse. And it was just like 8 questions that I had, God answered. And every one of them was saying, bring Landon. The one verse that really struck me, it said, keep not back, bring thy son from far. And I woke up that night with that verse on replay in my mind. Mm. And it was just so impressed on me. God was saying, do not stay back, bring your son from far. And so that's, that I was like, okay, it scared me so much. I felt like Jonah running from God. I didn't tell anybody. I didn't even tell Landon because I thought, oh my goodness, because I have to do this now because God told me to, but he provided, and it's, there's so many stories in this. I wish we could go through everything, but how he just worked so many miracles in getting us here. And so we've been here 5 weeks. And, of course, y'all mentioned Dr. Vaughn. We were on the list. We knew the Lord wanted us to go. That was in October 2021.
And so I continued on the medicines for a little while with Payson, and then they actually made me feel so bad that I quit all of them. And I just tried to push through my senior year. And it was hard. but I got up every day and I just kept fighting. And that's the one thing, you have to have grit. You have to keep going after it. And to all the people that have long COVID, don't give up. There's treatment. There's people getting better, and there is hope, because it feels so. It's a feeling that like I can't describe to you in words. Long COVID is a horrible disease. It is absolutely. It's not COVID. It is caused by, like y'all said earlier before we got cut off, by the spike protein. These microclots are caused by the spike protein in both the vaccine and the virus, and it's just a horrible thing. And so, basically, my mom had confirmation that we were supposed to go. She didn't tell me, but as a young kid, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna push through this. I'm gonna, maybe I'll just get better. And so time went on and on and on, and I was getting really, really frustrated. I was like, this is interfering with my college plans. Of course, I had to put college off for a semester. And so that's when we came across Dr. Jordan Vaughn in July. And that man has helped me so much. He's an incredible doctor. He's part of the FLCCC. He's a critical doctor. And so basically...
Yeah, so we went to Dr. Vaughn. We knew we were on the list. We still had not been called. And it had been, this was June of 2022. And so he went in. The reason we went to Dr. Vaughn was because Landen came to me and said, Mom, do you know when you're sick and your body's craving something? And I said, sure. And I thought he meant something to eat. And I said, what do you want? What are you craving? And he said, oxygen. And then I knew we had a big problem. We bought the O2 canisters. He was just having severe shortness of breath. It was very scary. So that's when we heard about Dr. Vaughn. We went to see him, and he did x-rays.
Yeah, so he actually did a chest x-ray. I remember going in there because my mom had mentioned Dr. Vaughn for about a month. And I told her, I said, no, I'm tired of doctors. I'm tired of the woke agenda. They don't care about us, because there's so many people on Reddit, and they're like, it seems like doctors don't care about us because, number one, it's so new. And number two, like, if you try to publicly speak out about microclotting or the vaccine or any of this, you get canceled or shut down. So anyway, but I woke up one day and I said, you know what, Mom, as much as I can't stand doctors, I got to see Dr. Vaughn. You told me he was a good doctor. You've been told he was a good doctor, so let's just go see what he thinks. So we went in there, and he said, let's go take some x-rays. And I was like, oh, okay. So I was like, I'm down for anything. I just need some answers. So anyway.
Wait, time out. So
we did.
Nobody had taken an x-ray of your lungs until this point?
They had.
Okay.
They had taken x-rays, lots of x-rays. We had so many.
And I actually had an x-ray at the when I went to the ER a year ago. So,
Wow.
But anyway, he took an x-ray and he looked at me and he said, yeah, no wonder you can't breathe. Look at your lungs. And I was like, are you kidding me?
We were shocked.
Yeah.
We were shocked. We failed to mention before this happened, I took Landen because he was shortness of breath. I took him for an EBO2 at the Faro Health and Performance. And that's when they filter the blood. It's not as detailed as the health apheresis, but we were it ozonates and oxygenates the blood. So we were trying to help get air. His lungs were taking in the oxygen. His cells were starving for the oxygen. So we thought the EBO2 would help. And when we did that with Faro Health and Performance, which is on Highway 280 right here in Alabama, and they are a wonderful, wonderful group. If anybody has any mysterious disease, they may want to see them. They're awesome. They pulled a large blood clot off of Landen. We were shocked, and everyone was shocked.
Yeah.
So then we had confirmation.
What?
Sorry, I just said the
what,
scary
that
kind.
moment when the blood clot, like when that happened, tell me how you were feeling. Like that's...
Wait, and time out. You watched it go through the tube, and Jill, you took a picture of it.
I have a picture of it.
Yes.
I have a picture of it.
Yeah, we actually do have a picture of it. Now, at first, I try to think the best. I was like, well, what's the probability that formed outside of my body, like in the tube? And she said, honey, you have heparin going in you. She's like, there's no way. She said, that pulled out of your body. And it's a weird looking clot. It's unlike anything you've seen. And so basically, after talking to Dr. Vaughn and whatnot, these clots are so abnormal. Like, they're unlike anything they've seen. So they're still learning about them, but it was creepy. But that was the second confirmation right there that we
So
had.
when we found that clot, the Pharaoh Health and Performance said we've got to get him on a triple anticoagulant, which I've trusted Pharaoh Health and Performance perfect. That there's wisdom in a multitude of counselors, and I wanted to check with his primary care physician first. So as I was trying to get him to the PCP, that's when my friend said, "You've got to take him to Dr. Vaughn. He's the long haul specialist." And we were so thrilled.
So yeah, jumping to Dr. Vaughn, we got the X-rays, and this was his wording. He said, "Your lungs look like crap," and I said, "Okay."
Can hear him
and
say that.
I wasn't, and I wasn't like scared or anything. I was actually excited. I was like, "Okay, finally, we got something. This is not anxiety." So anyway, he put me on the triple therapy, and I was on that for 33 days.
Yeah.
And I actually have some friends of mine that are now having trouble. They saw Dr. Vaughn, and they're on the triple therapy too because their lungs look the same.
Spreading the word.
My Aunt Kayla was struggling really bad, having some symptoms like she went to Dr. Vaughn, and her lungs are worse than mine. So she started the triple therapy. For me, the triple therapy was really, really hard on me. I mean, it made me feel horrible. And so I just tried to push through. I was
basically, he was not able to drive. It dizzy spells, which Dr. Vaughn said that the medicine is not going to make you, that medicine doesn't, and it affects everybody different. It's not the medicine that made him feel that way, but it's what is.
It's a result of the medicine because it's a result of the medicine working because these clots, Riccia praetoris down in South Africa, she has learned that these clots contain inflammation and all types of other bad bacteria that's being released into your bloodstream because of the anticoagulants breaking them up. So that's why you feel so bad all the time.
Okay. So you're kind of poisoning yourself.
Right. As those dissolve.
Those things are dissolving
A little
and
bit like
poisoning
chemotherapy.
you. Yeah.
Ugh.
Wow.
Wow.
So his body was having to deal with that. Now, we told Dr. Vaughn, when he put him on the anticoagulant, I said, "This may not make sense to you," because I had never met him before. I said, "But we're on the list to go to Cyprus. We had been we thought we were going to Germany, but we were called to the island of Cyprus, and we're so glad now that we're here. God had all that worked out." But he said, "Well, I've never had anybody go, so you may not need to go. I mean, if you get on the anticoagulants." And I said, "Well, God has told us to go." And he said, "Well, then go."
Right.
And so he's kind of looking, and we're going to go back. We come back. We fly back this 12th.
Praise Jesus.
There's no place like home. There's no place like home.
So what are they
he's
doing in Cyprus? What is the process you're undergoing in Cyprus?
Okay. Yeah, so it's called helpapheresis.
It's heparin, extracorporeal, LDL precipitation, and it's 5 filters. It's a blood washing. So they take the blood out and they filter it through all of it. They separate the plasma, and then they put it back, the clean blood back in. So it takes about 4 hours.
Yeah, it takes about 4 hours. So they start you off slow. So my first treatment, they only did about 2 liters of my blood or of my plasma, and then the second treatment about 2 liters, and then the third, fourth, and fifth one, I think it was like 3.5, almost 4. And then yesterday was my last treatment. It was my 5th treatment. They were able to do 3.9. And that determines on your blood flow, how hydrated you are, how tired you are. And so I'm actually really glad I was able to get the last treatment yesterday, so I'd have time to recover to fly back. But my filters, when we first started, look absolutely horrible. I mean, the microclotting, you can actually see the microclotting at the bottom of the plasma filter. The head nurse pointed it out to us. It's a combination of microclotting, fibrinogen, cytokines, and some other stuff. But cytokines, on my 5th treatment, at the very end, my filter, but 2 of my filters actually jammed. And so I was trying not to have a panic attack. I was just looking at my mom and saying, "Hey, Mom, can you hold my hand?" But I was trying, but basically she said that that's actually a good sign because 2 of the filters had pulled out cytokines, and basically that's why I was having so much inflammation in my body, costochondritis, sternum popping, all these other symptoms that I have that I won't go into. But so that was actually encouraging. So
Wait, do y'all have, I'm kind of weird, but do y'all have pictures of that? I'd be so interested to see. Okay, we'll have to connect because I want to see those.
Yeah, so we have pictures of all the filters, and you can actually see. We can send them to you, and I'll tell you what to look for. But you can see on my sixth one, which was yesterday, it looks a lot better.
And the reason he said, it was a little scary is because they're taking blood out of your arm, and then they're putting it back in. So, they're draining your blood, and then the machine has a little issue. But they're very calm there. They know what they do. It's controlled. They don't take too much out. It's a very slow process, very slow. So it's not like there's anything they can't take too much out and not get it back in. You always get your blood back. So it's just a little unnerving as all of this. And it's very exhausting as someone, it's almost like a dialysis, and he'll be like, this is his second day. Oh no, this is his first day after treatment. The third day after treatment, we don't know why, but it's his hardest day. So he's down for 3 to 4 days, and that's why we needed to do it Monday so he would feel well enough to fly back on Saturday.
And really quick, Pretoria actually just recently wrote an article about how the third day is the hardest because something to do with the oxygen is now getting to certain places that hadn't been in a while. And for some reason, that makes your body crash because your body's not used to it. So we're optimistic. We're excited. We've been here for 6 weeks. It's actually gone by faster than expected, but we are so ready to get home. We miss our family. We're homesick, and
we love the people here and the clinic. They met all our expectations. They were just wonderful people. We are really going to miss them, and we hope to get this treatment in the United States. Russia, China, Cyprus, Switzerland, and Germany now have this health apheresis machine. It's made by Vaughn. From what we understand, Vaughn lost their certification in 2009. They didn't recertify. And so if we could get someone to recertify, if Vaughn would do that, or another medical company could make a machine like this. It's the HELP machine was used in Mulheim, Germany for 30 years for cardiac patients, for plaque and cholesterol. It cleans and filters all of that out. So anyone with heart disease, so Vieta Yeager used it. And what happened when they realized that there was, that the COVID was not a lung disease, but it's a vascular disease, and it affects the endothelial, the lining of the vascular system. And these microclots go everywhere. So when Dr. Vaughn took an image of Landen's lungs, he said, this is just a picture into what your whole body looks like. And it was literally white, and we could show you before and after. And we're going to have more tests run when we get back, once to see if there's a difference. But it looked like a white spider web. And he said,
I will say my shortness of breath, even now, is tremendously better. And that was one of my major symptoms. And Silka, the head nurse, she said, Landen, I'm telling you, when you go back and get your x-ray, there's going to be, it might be completely normal. And so that was really, really encouraging.
So let me ask this. So where do y'all think you are in the process? Are we just hoping that it's done? Are you over the hump, do you think? Will it come back, or does anybody know, Dr. Vaughn or the people there in Cyprus kind of know the process of getting this out?
So everyone's different. There's been people that had to come back, but we're trusting God through this whole process. And with me being on anticoagulants for 30 days before coming here, we think that had a big role with how successful this treatment is going to be to push me over the finish line. But they did say that my body now has to rest for 3 to 6 months. That's a little discouraging as a 19-year-old wanting to go through life. But she
said, now that we've cleaned this out of your body, now your body has to heal, because for 17 months these microclots in the spike protein from the virus has has just done damage all over his body. He's got a lot of issues going on. And so inflammation, which causes all kinds of problems.
Stomach issues. So basically, at my last treatment, before I even started my sixth treatment, because if you look at the bottom of the filter, we had been told that the clear stuff is the microclots. And so I really didn't see that in my fifth filter. So I looked at Silka, which she's been a godsend. Silka is absolutely amazing. And she's been my best friend to this all, and I'm really deeply going to miss her.
We got to make sure she gets a copy of this.
Right.
Yeah, I bet she'll appreciate all the praise.
She's been she's a fighter, and she knows a lot about the deep run machine. She worked there for 15 years, and she's
certified instructor on this machine, and actually came from Mulheim, Germany, working with Beata Yeager here to set up this clinic, which is owned by Marcus Clots. He went for treatment and was so impressed that he stayed to learn and then brought it here to Cyprus.
Wow.
Yeah, so as I was saying about the fifth filter, I asked her, I said, do I have any microclots as of now? Like, do you think I still have microclots after 5 treatments? And she looked at me dead in the eyes and she said, Landon, you don't have any more microclots. Your body's now free of microclots. And I was like, well, that's very encouraging.
Yeah.
Wow. She said, I tried.
And when Landon said there were some people that had to come back, we can tell you, we've met people here from all around the world. You would not believe, those wonderful people. Most of them, and I don't like to hurt people's feelings, but most of them are vaccinated. They're vaccine injured, and they will tell you that. We met one lady that was a nurse from England, and she said, I never had COVID. I'm vaccine injured.
And there's something different between the spike protein and the virus and the vaccine. Apparently,
they just have a hard time getting rid of that.
The spike protein in the vaccine, from what we have heard, replicates, and so it's a lot harder to control that.
Right. So they are saying, give it time. We've gotten your body clear, and you've got to go home and rest. And the number one thing that they have to do is you could please do not overdo it. You have to pace. And that's hard for a teenager. Well, you've got to now let your body heal.
So for people that are watching, if they are struggling with these symptoms and maybe possibly think they have long COVID, maybe they aren't in Birmingham or Alabama and they don't have a Dr. Vaughn, like where would you say for them to start so they don't have to wait and go through what you did for a year?
Okay, I would go to the flccc.com, and they have long COVID regimens on there, and try to find a doctor that is affiliated with them. I know Dr. Vaughn can't talk to all these people, but I have referred him to so many people. I have a friend named Jake that he read my Reddit post that I had posted about to encourage some people because there's so much negativity on there. And he actually had a Zoom call with Dr. Vaughn. So he does do televisits, but of course you can't, meet with everyone. But yeah, that's what I would do. I'd go to flccc.com.
And then Dr. Vaughn got him in contact with a doctor near Jake, so that he's like, hey, here's a doctor that I know near.
Now, is this FLCC? Is this the frontline doctors?
Yes, this is the frontline critical care.
Yeah. Frontline critical care. Okay. Okay. Good.
So one thing that we did learn, and Dr. Vaughn is on board with this as well, and the group here, they're following also the FLCC. Dr. Vaughn told Landon to take, and I hope I pronounced this correctly, nattokinase and serapeptase. And this is an all-natural supplement that is will naturally it naturally thins your blood a blood thinner, but it's not a medicine, so it can't hurt you. But that is, my sister is taking that along with the blood thinners, and she says she's doing amazing on it. So the nattokinase and serapeptase, and it's it comes together, and it's in one pill, and you take 2 in the morning and 2 at night, or 1 in the morning and 1 at night. And see your doctor about it.
It's actually supposed to eat the fibrinogen.
Yes.
I also wanted to say that addressing one symptom that's like severe for long COVID people is is the fatigue. So we've actually been told here that the reason why the fatigue is so bad, where like you can't even get out of bed, is because the pancreas and the liver are actually in sleep mode. That's what Silka said, because basically they're in oxygen deprivation because of these microclots, and so they're just not functioning normally. And so, for instance, they like you to keep your sugar really high before treatment. So I ate, for all my treatment, a huge breakfast. I'm talking huge. And then we had a huge lunch, and then right before I went to clinic, had a snack, and my sugar was 84.
Oh, wow.
And so that's why we are just so fatigued as long haulers, because of the oxygen deprivation in our...
It's affecting the pancreas, the liver, the kidneys, it's the gut, the heart, the lungs. It's affecting everything. The inflammation, the microclots are all in the body. They're not just in the lungs. So they're everywhere. And the longer someone, like Landen was 17 months before we found answers. So the quicker you can get on this, even if you have COVID, go ahead and get on the nitazoxanide and the serapeptase. And Dr. Vaughn, this is what I would urge anyone. If you are in the Birmingham area, contact Dr. Vaughn. If you have COVID or or any after effects of COVID, he is the long haul COVID specialist. I wished we had known about him before. If we had known what we knew now, we wouldn't be going through this. But God has us here for such a time as this. And, we have, our prayer is to bring this back to the States one day, that we will have this treatment for other people. We are very hopeful. We do think it will work. And we don't think that God brought us here for it not to work. In fact, that was one of the verses in Isaiah 43. I said, God, what if we do all this and it doesn't work? And the verse next under it said, I'm the Lord thy God, the Holy One of Israel. I will work. And we are just trusting God. And, we know he cannot lie. And we know that Landen's going to get...
go.
Oh, my
No,
God.
sorry. Thank y'all very much. But it's a little bit hot in here, so.
Landen, you were so impressive. Your knowledge, I'm sure you've learned a ton, and your outlook and your attitude. And Jill, y'all's story is just amazing and inspiring. And I know that God will continue to use you all mightily. And it's funny because actually Dr. Vaughn co-authored a 2-part article recently in the Epic Times about kind of how to detox from long COVID. It doesn't talk about this, but y'all can check that out as well. But I just feel like you all and Dr. Vaughn and kind of his little group, actually, we're having him on next week. He'll be on our podcast. So we'll have to see and get an update, and y'all will be home by then. But I think y'all together can really help a lot of people.
Absolutely.
And so thank y'all so much. And okay, I just have to ask, what are your plans after you get back besides resting and taking some naps? Like college, are we going? What's the plan?
Yeah, so whenever I do get to go to college, first, like you said, just get home and rest and take it from there. But I do want to study political science. I have a love for this country. I think the country's headed in the wrong direction, and I just love America. So I wanted to study political science at Pensacola Christian College. I'm now looking at Liberty University. So we'll go from there.
Nice.
But I love politics. It's been my life.
It is his passion. He actually met our former vice president, and so he loves it. And day and night, 24 hours a day, he's talking politics.
Okay. Good luck to
right.
you.
Yeah, that's awesome.
We'll support you.
Yeah,
Yes,
we'll be in
yes,
touch
we
with
will.
you, Landen. Landen 2036. 40.
We're for him.
Landy,
Yeah.
Landy
Yes, we're already cheering for you.
Yeah. Thank you
Sign
very
us
much.
up.
Thank you all, and be safe in your travels as you head back home. And
Hey, guys, thank
God
you
bless.
so much for the opportunity to be able to be on with you guys.
Thank you.
Hey, make sure and
Thank you.
follow up with us when you get back.
Yeah.
Well, I know where to find y'all.
Right.
I'll reach out and
because I want to see the pictures.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I got to
Okay,
see
yeah, we'll,
the filter stuff. Okay.
yeah,
Thank
we'll
y'all.
send them.
All right.
Thanks, y'all,
Thank
so
you
All
so
right.
much.
Be
Thank
safe.
you.
Bye-bye.
That worked well.
Okay,
Sorry
then.
for the
Wow.
coughing.
What
but
You know
was
what?
that?
This is Alabama Unfiltered,
you have
and
long
this is what we
COVID?
do.
I might have it, maybe, possibly.
Wow.
No.
I think you do. Get out. I'm
Every
kidding.
week when it gets like really hot, I'm going to bring the water bottle and set it there. So I'm good.
On the corner.
You know what? I understand the being hot, but
Thank
I
you.
just,
I don't know.
Maybe
I
Beth-
don't know
It's
what's
okay.
wrong with me.
It's okay.
Good.
You're here. We made it through, and that's
We
a
did.
phenomenal story.
That is a great story. And we're going to have Dr. Vaughn on the program.
We are to follow up and basically keep ourselves kicked off of social media for these topics,
Right.
but that's fine. This is what we do.
So the machine, did y'all notice that the machine that other countries use to clean out the plaque and the cholesterol and all that kind of stuff from people who have heart issues has not been certified in America since 2009?
That's funny.
So you can take all the drugs they keep advertising on the television every time I
Right.
watch a ball game, but you can't use the machine that would keep you from taking all the drugs probably.
Did you pick up that she said that the machine is actually in China?
They have it in China. I heard
But it's not here?
I heard the Russia part
Yeah.
because they're so oppressed.
Russia, China, Switzerland,
I
Germany,
don't know.
Cyprus.
We
Cyprus.
think we're so cool.
Wow.
We're not that cool.
We're just
Okay, we
not.
need to fix
we
that.
used
We have
to be.
we have a drug for everything.
We
used
do.
to be.
We did. We got to bring that back, y'all. It's enough.
Can we have it? Can we like certify it for just use in Alabama? Can
Yes, we
can it be a
can.
states right thing?
Absolutely.
And so everybody that has these issues could come here.
Should we set
But-
up a
but-
secret
Could
clinic?
be our tourist destination.
Yeah.
Should we do that?
I'm for that as a business. Can we do that?
There's the business.
Okay,
It's
y'all
not
put the money
coffee,
in.
it's
I will
this machine.
cough on everyone.
Hey, that's not a
And-
bad idea.
Okay, just don't cut me out. I want to be a
Talk
part
about
of
it.
it.
Do it.
Let's do.
Cut him out.
I know. I
Okay.
can already tell.
You're cut out.
They're like,
This is
they
the
have a line on the highway down there.
Yep.
and I can't do it.
no problem.
I
This
don't
is
know.
the time to be a woman because then you can have a small business loan.
Yeah, we're
They're going to
gonna-
give it to
I
us.
don't
leave
know
the
if
boys
y'all. I
out.
don't even know if women count anymore. Y'all aren't special anymore.
You know what?
Not
I'm
in the
reading
new
Abigail
administration.
Schreier's book, and that's a whole nother subject, but possibly based
Yeah.
on all the crazy
Y'all
stuff
are not.
going on.
Not
trying
that-
to get rid
not
of
that big a
us.
deal.
Yeah.
Y'all are no longer an oppressed group.
We're just a birthing person. That's it.
All right. Any last words?
None. That was an amazing interview, and I can't wait to follow up. But I'm excited about Dr.
Right.
Vaughn coming on.
I'm just so impressed with him. Like,
What a great
that-
kid. What
amazing.
a great family.
Like, that,
No, it was fantastic.
yeah,
Good.
really impressive.
And that's
I'm
it.
done.
Y'all are good.
I'm
Yeah,
done.
Y'all are finished
That's
up.
it. We're good.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you for watching this week's version of Alabama Unfiltered. Don't forget to go to all the places that you listen or watch your podcast. Give us a thumbs up, 5 stars, whatever is necessary. And please tell other people about the program. That's why this show is growing by leaps and bounds, because of you telling others about it. Thanks a lot, and see y'all.